way. Somehow I manage to stand. I try to raise my arms above my head, but they feel like lead. I start to walk around the track while Emmy keeps close to me, like she's afraid I'll fall over or something. She may not be far off. I feel terrible and say so. Emmy laughs. But you finished, didn't you? You said you couldn't, but you did. Isn't that worth it? I'm not sure, and I don't really have the breath to say so. But then a small grin I felt on my face earlier hasn't left. So what if my heart's weak? I still survived this morning. Maybe I'll survive tomorrow, too. As soon as it becomes apparent that I'm not going to suddenly keel over, Emmy takes off on her sprints. I don't know how the hell she can manage to sprint after running a mile, but I feel she's in much better shape than me. Once again, as I walk around the track, I can't help watching Emmy sprint. It's weird, but she's like a different person when she's pushing herself. Last time I noticed her eyes, but this time it's her mouth that catches my attention. She's not wearing her normal grin. She's still smiling, but there's a tightness to it. It's almost grim, like she's fighting a losing battle but doesn't care. She seems to be running harder like she did yesterday. Sweat has started to pour down her face, but she keeps going. Her mouth finally opens as if she can no longer get enough air through her nose. As she passes me once more, legs pumping, arms swinging in the air, her lips slightly parted. She looks beautiful. Oh, I'm seeing this spark here. I've said that so many times. After we've both taken some laps around the track to cool down, Emmy changes back to her usual self. The transformation I saw in her is gone. Not bad today, Hisao. There's almost admiration in her voice. What do you mean? I would have stopped if you hadn't yelled at me. Emmy colors a little, seemingly embarrassed about her outburst. Sorry about that. I just can't stand to see people give up, especially about something like this. Saying I can't go on is silly when you're obviously going on while you're saying it. That's what this is all about. What? Saying silly things? Emmy sticks out her tongue at me. Idiot. I mean showing that you're alive. Showing I'm alive, huh? I didn't know it had to be so painful. But it does feel pretty good despite that. Besides, this is one of the hardest days. What do you mean? Whenever you start a workout, it's difficult the first day, really hard the second day, and then the third day is easier. You'll still get days that are really hard, but they'll pop up less and less. So this will eventually get really easy, huh? Yeah, of course. But then you have to increase the difficulty or you'll never get ahead. You'll just get complacent and you'll lose the sense of accomplishment. So have to run more than just 4 laps, huh? Yep, but not for a while. You'll have to be careful, you know. I thought... Oh, sorry, ear itched and I had to move the headset up. A thought strikes Emmy and her face lights up. Got it. Got what? You can come with me to see the nurse. That way you won't fall over dead or anything. How charming. When? Right now, of course. You'll need a shower and everything, right? We don't have much time then. Grabbing my hand, she's off, pulling me along with her. My goodness, but you're in a hurry today, aren't you, Emmy? I have no idea how we got to the nurse's office so fast, but here we are. The nurse grins at Emmy, seems to completely ignore me. Or Anne seems to completely ignore me. You've got plenty of time to take a shower and get to class, you know. There's no need to run through the hallways like that. I can hear you coming a mile away. Somehow, it doesn't seem like he's actually scolding Emmy at all. It's like this sort of routine between the two of them. Emmy does a passable imitation of remorse. I'm sorry, I won't ever do it again. The nurse and Emmy both laugh at some private joke. Suddenly, it seems that he notices me. Ah, hello, Hisao. What brings you here? Well, Hisao's officially joined me on my morning runs. I start to explain, but Emmy cuts me off. I thought he might need to visit you so that he doesn't die or anything. The nurse raises his eyebrows in mock horror. Yes, that would certainly put me out of a job fast, wouldn't it? Well then, Hisao, let's have a look at you. Lift up your shirt, would you? I'm suddenly very conscious of the fact that Emmy's in the room with me and blush in spite of myself. The nurse seems to sense my discomfort, but it only seems to amuse him. A bit shy, are we? He makes an apologetic bow to Emmy. Sorry, Emmy, I tried to get you a free show, but it doesn't seem to have worked. Emmy stiffens slightly and fires a look of annoyance at him. You're an asshole. Damn, just full out asshole. Emmy bows to me apologetically. I'll wait outside, okay, Hisao? I begin to stammer that it's not really a big deal, that she doesn't have to leave, but she's already out the door and the nurse is laughing as he watches her go. Still got it, ha! I don't follow. He laughs again, like he's on some joke that's over my head. I can still get her flustered. It's a competition of sorts we've got going on for a while now. That sounds incredibly sinister to me. And it seems as if the nurse realizes that too. That sounded a lot worse than it actually is, come to think of it. I wasn't going to say anything. No, you're right. I should have filled you in so that you don't get the wrong idea. I'm actually relatively new here, you see. I got hired on the same year Emmy started going here. Before that, I worked with Emmy during her initial rehab following her accident. Hold on, what? We had to amputate her legs after a really nasty car wreck. It nearly killed her and succeeded. He shuts up abruptly. I blink at receiving the unexpected piece of news. Well, that's not my place to say. Anyway, we've known each other for quite a while. So we have a slightly more familiar relationship than a strictly professional. He seems embarrassed, like he's done something stupid. I guess he's really worried about that. I wave a hand to let him know it's not a big deal. Don't worry, sir. I promise I'm going to be discreet. I had been wondering of what caused Emmy to lose her legs, and that was one of the scenarios I thought of. There were only so many ways that could have happened, but actually hearing about the facts, it's still a little shocking. Well, thanks. You're a good kid, Hisao. I can see why Emmy became friends with you. She's quite indomitable, you know. What do you mean? You didn't see her learning to walk. She'd go for so much longer than the others in the hospital. She refused to quit. Normally it takes years to get to the point where you can even think about running again. Emmy did it all in about a year. He almost seems proud of her, like a father who watches his daughter win a competition or something. Hell, she'd probably have done it faster if not for the fact that we wouldn't let her. Wouldn't let her? Why not? Because she'd go for so long that her legs would start bleeding where they met her prosthetics. It's a real concern. It's why she comes by every day after she runs. To say nothing of the risk of infection if her legs ever get cut off and her prosthetics are dirty. But enough about that. Yeah, really, I should be hearing this from her, not you. If we don't get you on your way soon, Emmy will think we're up to something. As he says this, he gives a wink and begins checking my heartbeat. The stethoscope is way too cold. He really should have heated it up or something before he used it. After a few moments, he leans back satisfied. Well, it should be pretty good. You sound pretty good to me, Hisao. You didn't have any chest pains while you were running, did you? No, not really. I had some trouble catching my breath, though, and my heart was racing by the end, too. The nurse frowns as I say this, but then shrugs. It's probably just because you're out of shape, but if you don't improve, then you should let me know, okay? Don't push yourself too much, and of course, if you have any chest pains, come to me immediately, right? I put my shirt back on. The nurse leans out the doorway to call in Emmy. What took you so long? Now I'm going to be late. The nurse gives me a significant look. I was just seducing Hisao, that's all. What? Come on. What have I told you about seducing my friends? I'd expect Emmy to be shocked by this, but instead she seems merely annoyed, scolding the nurse as if he were a child stealing cookies. Meanwhile, I try hard not to blush at the nurse's innuendo. I'll try not to do it again, though I fear young Hisao may be lost to the female gender forever. Not freaking likely. Oh, Jesus. I didn't mean to say that out loud, but both the nurse and Emmy regarded me for a moment before bursting into laughter again. Told you he was funny, didn't I? Huh? I guess Emmy does talk to the nurse about a lot of stuff. Well, Hisao, you should probably get moving. You still need a shower before class starts, don't you? Crap, he's got a point, and it looks like I've only got half an hour. Thanks for your time. I'll see you later, Emmy. I dash out of the room, and the nurse begins to remove Emmy's prosthetics. As I head down the hallway, I just barely hear his voice drifting after me. Emmy, you've got to move. Be more careful. I make it back to my room and shower in record time. It occurs to me that I've already been up for 4 hours and class hasn't even started yet. This is going to be a really, really long day. I hope I don't fall asleep in class. Katawa Shoujo. Oh god, I'm gonna have a lot of rendering. I haven't even recorded anything else yet. I've just been this. I have backed up stuff, so it doesn't really matter that much. I'll try uploading daily. I can't promise anything though, especially when I have so much. The morning sunlight streaming through my window wakes me up instead of my alarm, and I realize that it must be Sunday. Oh, whoa, wait, what? Did we just... Emmy was kindly deigned to give me weekends off from our morning runs. I don't actually know if I woke up at all yesterday, or if I slept through the entire day. My legs groan in protest as I lever myself out of bed. All this running has really taken it out of me. Still, I can't deny that Emmy wasn't lying to me. It's gotten a little easier. I'd been worried that the runs would start to wear on my nerves, but thus far I haven't minded them at all that much. Well, it's only been a week. I suppose there's plenty of time. This is kind of a huge jump. Jesus. Time for me to start dressing to the sound of my alarm in the morning. Not that I ever skip out now. As Emmy said, it's harder to stop a routine when there's another person. And frankly, I don't think I'm equipped to deal with a disappointed Emmy. She'd probably give me those puppy dog eyes and I'd feel terrible about myself. Which reminds me, wasn't I supposed to be somewhere today? Hey, you're coming to track me on Sunday, right? What am I talking about? Of course you are. Right? Those puppy eyes again. Of course I'm going. I owe you, right? Exactly, so don't forget, okay? That was really cool transition. Crap, Emmy's tracked me. Better get a move on if I don't want to miss her running, since she's the only reason I'm even consider going. Otherwise, it would defeat the whole purpose of going. And so, as soon as I found myself quite suddenly surrounded by a crowd of people, all turning out to see our track team compete with another school like this one. I'll admit it, it's almost comforting to know we're not the only school like this. After you see that there are 2 schools with a bunch of defective kids, well, you stop feeling so defective. You also stop feeling unique, which in most cases would be a bad thing, but in this case, it sure as hell isn't. That's part of Yamaku's appeal, I guess. Learn that you're not unique. Hell, learn that there's lots of other people who would kill to be saddled with your problem instead of whatever they're dealing with. Some of the kids here aren't here because they're missing a leg or they have a heart condition. Some of them might be because they're as good as dead in 2, maybe 3 years if they're lucky. That's only if they get the right sort of care. It's a better sort of comfort to be able to say, well, at least I've got a chance of being alive through college, but there it is. I'm brought out of my rather morbid musings by the appearance of Rin near the entrance of to the bleachers. You came. Of course, I said I would, didn't I? That doesn't necessarily imply that you had to follow through. Lots of people say things that don't mean them. Well, I don't. Rin shrugs, seemingly bored with our conversation. She turns on her heel and heads back towards the stands. I owe Emmy money now. Why is that? I didn't think you'd show up. Emmy did. So I owe her 500 yen. You two bet on an awful lot, don't you? Another shrug from my armless companion. I don't think so. We enter the bleachers and Rin nods upwards. Up there. I came out to see if you'd come. For the bet, I presume. Rin leads the way, so we've settled on the almost empty bench. There's an older woman sitting next to Rin. Someone's mother, I assume. I've never seen this character. I didn't watch this playthrough, so... It's all new. I know. It's new. No more predicting. She's got rather long hair down up in a braid. On seeing Rin, she gives her an oddly familiar seeming grin. Well, this is... Woman with braid. Well, this is surprising. I thought you went to get a snack, not a boy. Huh? A snack? I wondered why I was down there. The woman laughs again in the same way, in a way that seems familiar. Where have I seen her before? Well, I suppose you're You've always been one to go out for one thing and bring back another. But I'm being rude. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Miko Ibarazaki. It's gonna be Mako, Emi's mother. Pleased to meet you. Well, that explains it. She's like a taller, older, and better endowed Emi. Apart from her hair being a darker shade than Emi's, there's really no mistaking the resemblance. Sorry, I'm Hisao Nakai. And really, you don't have to apologize for not introducing yourself, Mrs. Ibarazaki. God damn that name. I hope she's gonna be like, no, just call me Mako. That's really Rin's job in this situation, isn't it? Another laugh from Emi's mother. I take it you've not known Rin for that long, then. It's best not to expect her to remember something like that. She's got other things to think about, I assume. Rin nods, seemingly pleased by this assessment. She's right. I was thinking about sunsets. You see, it's really up to us making introductions and the like. For lack of any better response, I nod. Mrs. Ibarazaki. I said it pretty good that time. Ibarazaki. It's not gonna happen again, though. Hopefully at some point it'll just be Mako, but she's an adult. You do tend to call adults, or at least parents of your friends, by their last name. I never did, but that was a family friend, so that's kind of different, but... Yeah, close... Yeah, okay. Like new friends, kind of, which is what this is. Leans back a little on her seat and raises an eyebrow. So, how long have you and Rin been dating? Oh god! My response consists of silence as my brain suddenly lurches into gear. But just before I can begin to utter a hasty babbled explanation, Emi's mother bursts into laughter again. Hi, you're a blusher, aren't you? I don't know if there's any way to keep my dignity in this situation, so I settle for a mumbled response. Maybe. So this must be a new romance then, mustn't it? Wait, that's not the question that... Another laugh. I know, but it's funny to watch you squirm. I'm sorry, forgive an old woman her amusements. She doesn't look old to me. Yeah, old woman. She sure doesn't look that old to me. Clearly, Emi gets her youthful features from her mother. I suppose I can let it go. How kind of you. It's starting. I direct my attention to the track where they're preparing for the first sprint.